in just seconds on Studio 5.
And the Oscar goes to...
See what stories of faith and dreams are top contenders for this year's Oscars. And then...
I received a call from my niece about just things going on.
One family's trouble gives birth to a year-long project to put love in action. Then...
You're my darling.
He doesn't mind being sexy R&B to his fans, so long as they don't mind his worship.
Baby, you're my shining star. I see you.
Leon Timbo is in Studio 5, starting now. It's that time again. Welcome to Studio 5. We want to jump right in with this week's Top 5 from Studio 5. At number 5 this week, Johnny Swim goes to late night.
So you can give me this whole life with you standing by my side.
This husband and wife duo appeared on Conan, performing the song First Try from their hit new album, Georgia Capone.
I'll get it right. I'll get it right on the first try.
At number 4,
some would say, what's a preacher doing in Hollywood?
And I would say, what's a preacher not doing in Hollywood?
film exec Devon Franklin and Sony Pictures team up to bring the Christmas story to the big screen in an animated film titled The Star. The voices of the all-star cast include Gina Rodriguez as Mary, Zachary Levi as Joseph, Tyler Perry as Cyrus, Kelly Clarkson as a horse, Tracy Morgan as 3 camels, and Oprah Winfrey as Deborah. At number 3,
So we call out to dry bones, come alive, come alive.
the slate for this spring's Outcry Tour is out. Lauren Daigle is among the artists, joining Jesus Culture and Elevation Worship.
Spirit of Jesus, living within us.
Along with Pastor Levi Lusko and Pastor Stephen Furtick.
Don't you understand that God has been preparing you your whole life?
At number 2,
And the Oscar goes to...
Oscar nominations are in and films very familiar to Studio 5 are in the running. Hacksaw Ridge is nominated for Best Picture, with Andrew Garfield up for Best Actor and Mel Gibson up for Best Director. Fences is also up for Best Picture, with Denzel Washington nominated for Best Actor and Viola Davis for Best Supporting Actress. Hidden Figures is also in the running for Best Picture, with Octavia Spencer up for Best Supporting Actress. And finally, La La Land has more than a dozen nominations, including Best Picture, with Emma Stone eyeing the Best Actress category and Ryan Gosling up for Best Actor. And now, at number 1, a Studio 5 exclusive.
You know, Prince Charming or Romeo comes at me with those high heel shoes, I'll slap him. In Jesus' name.
Comedian Shonda Pierce performs at an inaugural ball.
There's a lot more Secret Service than they had at my church.
She chats with us before her set and allows our cameras to roll when she takes the stage.
If you say in Jesus' name after anything, you could get by with a lot. And so,
And breaking Studio 5 Top 5 news, Shonda has a big new project in the works.
I do have a movie coming out in April called Enough, and thank you to your great fans and followers. The first movie, Laughing in the Dark, was a huge success.
And those are your top 5 from Studio 5 for the week. This next story is a bit of a departure from our typical Studio 5 interview. It begs the question, what happens when a group of diverse Christian business owners and pastors get together with one focus to change the life of a family desperately in need? Take a look at how one meeting launched a year-long campaign we call Love in Action. This Virginia woman thought being a wife and mother of 3 was her happy ending.
I realized I'm living my dream.
But just before Christmas, Roxanne Archie learned her dream would soon evolve.
I hit just a spot where I was like, what's my next dream? Because it's not over, you know? And so I was praying about it, and God said, mother. And I was like, I am a mother, like, what else? And he's like, no, you're to be a mother to the motherless.
The fact Roxanne can share this story is in many ways miraculous. At just 4, she was shot in the head with a BB gun.
And it went in behind my right ear, and now it's lodged on the inside of my skull behind my left ear.
Doctors didn't think she would live, let alone speak. During the accident, she bit off part of her tongue.
That's where I stutter, and that's where the insecurity of speaking to people comes from.
Insecurity isn't stopping Roxanne from sharing this story. It all began with a phone call from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I received a call from my niece about just things going on, just troubling things.
Her niece told her her home situation had become very dark. Her mother's addiction made life so hard. Maddie was contemplating suicide.
Basically, it came to inviting her to come up here for a little while.
A little while became permanent, and a fresh start for 14-year-old Maddie meant big changes for Roxanne's young family.
We had to combine our 3 kids into one room to create just a space for her to have.
They still had no furniture for Maddie's room. So when members of Roxanne's church found out, they transformed that room to this.
That's where Maddie keeps all of her stuff.
And members of the family's church weren't the only ones who stepped up to help.
A lot of times people say, well, I'm praying for you. That's great. But if I need water, I need water. Pray for me and give me some water. A lot of times we pray, but we don't give them the water.
Eric Majette is the pastor of a largely African-American church, but he hasn't always been in the pulpit.
I was in corporate America for many years. I worked for some of the largest corporations like Xerox and Verizon.
When a church member told him about Maddie's situation, he wanted to help. And in doing so, the idea for Love in Action was born, with one mission: to show people in need the love of God and connect them with resources to make their lives easier.
I think that business leaders, churches need to come together, work cooperatively to combine resources in a way that blesses families and individuals in a way that can inspire others to action. I mean, so the contagion of expressing love in action is what we would love to see.
Why is it important in terms of this project for the group that comes together to be diverse?
Because of all the things that the country recently went through with the past election, there was a major divide. I believe that when you come together, you have more influence and you can make a bigger impact than being our own little tribes, our own little world.
The Archie family was the inspiration behind the project and also the first family to feel its impact. At this holiday fundraiser, the team met with the family, assessed their needs, and over the course of 2 months, got to work, putting love in action. The first step, a new vehicle for the growing family. The Love in Action team gave the family a new van. The next step, a shopping spree for Maddie, a new wardrobe for her new life.
So Madison, are you ready to shop?
And joining us now is our resident Love and Action fashion guru, Demetria Stallings. Let's begin. Tell me about the shopping trip with Madison. What are some of the moments that stand out to you?
You know, Madison is such a beautiful soul, and I think what stood out to me is the fun that we had with her and the producer as well as the cameraman. It was just a family matter. And while she was trying on clothes, you seen this light come out of her, almost like her, not just her personality, but this light shining within because she found hope. One of my favorite moments is when she was revealing her clothes. She opened the curtain like, look at what I have on. And I think that was so fascinating just to see the joy out of her. It touched her heart what everyone did for her.
You are a resident stylist, fashion guru. We can see it from head to toe just looking at you right now. Why is fashion, you think, such an important part of a new beginning for someone?
I believe, well, you know the saying, you look good, you feel good. And so I believe that it does something with feeling fresh. When you put on a new pair of shoes, there's something about that freshness that does something for you. And so I think if we can equate the newness of something that is given to you, it shows also the love of Christ.
Absolutely.
For instance, I had a necklace that my grandmother gave me for Christmas. It had a sapphire on it, and I put it on. Well, I took a picture of it the other day, and when I took a picture of it, I enlarged the picture. When I enlarged it, I was like, man, that's not just a necklace that my grandmother gave me. That felt like Christ to me. It felt like love to me because it was something that was given from the heart.
Absolutely.
And so I believe if we can give to others, then you will actually see that come from the heart.
Beautiful. That's why we're doing this. Love in Action. Yes. You got it. And for more Love in Action stories, be sure to stay tuned to us right here on Studio 5.
Still ahead.
You'll never wrestle with who God says you are.
His voice on the worship stage caught the ear of an R&B hitmaker.
Tyrese Gibson and a couple of other friends. We have these love circles.
Meet the preacher's kid and passionate artist Leon Timbo next.
Baby, you're my shining star. When I see you, my smiling stars. And I can't hold back.
That is the sound of Leon Timbo, a soulful singer and songwriter who was actually discovered by Tyrese Gibson. His latest album is called What's Love All About? It's what's playing in my ear. Your album, What's Love All About? The process of getting there, in many ways, this is the first big album for you?
Indeed. I've been recording for years, and contract up and down. It's been a song in and of itself, right? So, but I'm grateful for it because not only have I grown as an artist, as a songwriter, but I've developed real relationships that I needed to make this from an influencer perspective, as opposed to trying to get attention perspective. The first song I wrote maybe 10 years ago during the Bush administration, go figure. And so 1,000 Songs was birthed in that time, and the last song on the album I wrote was maybe 2 months before the album was completed. I needed to develop as an artist, so it took your Baby Faces and your Tyrese's and your R. Kelly's and your David Foster's to kind of change this. I remember sitting down on the piano with David Foster, and he heard the first note of my voice and said, that's the wrong key for you. I started singing, and I reached the end of my voice, and he said, I told you that was the wrong key for you. So it's those kind of moments that you grow in, and I needed that to be what I am, and I want to make an impact the first time I do it.
What took you so long?
I already loved you before I ever met you. So what took you so long, babe?
What inspired that song?
Tyrese Gibson and a couple of other friends. We have these love circles where we get entertainers, athletes, executives, people that can't normally walk in the back of churches because of celebrity. We'll find hotel rooms or homes, and we'll kind of sit in them and kind of talk Bible, talk life. And the idea had come up, is there one person? And if there's one person, what does that look like? And so the concept of What Took You So Long kind of jumped out of that.
Listening to it, I heard two messages for me. One was, I remember I was attracted to my wife before she was attracted to me. So I saw her and thought, this is the one.
Absolutely.
But she didn't see it.
Come on. It takes her.
And then the other is sort of God to us. Chasing us with love is like, what is taking you so long?
It is the same love. And there's music that should reflect it. Somebody asked me, where's your music in the Bible? I said, somewhere between Psalms, Proverbs, and the Song of Solomon, right there in the middle. So
now you are the son of a preacher.
And in that, I realized I don't like church people. I don't. I love Jesus, but I don't like church people. I see how church people can abuse pastors, and I saw my dad give and give and give and give, and I said to God, okay, Lord, if this is what that looks like, I don't want to be that book in the Bible. I don't want to be that guy. And he did it another way. He caused me to want to give to people who I I would never see again, who would never value the moment or even knew that I was a part of it. And so I'm happy to serve.
Church give you a hard time about singing love songs? And
not anymore. I think I've outgrown my haters.
I like that.
You know, my dad's pastor was 85 years old, and he asked his pastor, he said, why is it that nobody hates you? Why is it that nobody disdains you? He said, I've outlived them all.
I will never miss a moment, and that makes us one forever.
It was indeed an honor to sit down with Leon Timbo. His album, What's Love All About, is available now. Coming up next, Olivia Dyer talks about her new album, Time and Age.
I love songwriting. I've not really ever known what it would become, but I knew that at a really early age that I wanted to write songs.
And performs a song from the album right here on the Studio 5 stage.
Are the ones that hold this fragile heart.
And welcome back to Studio 5. After nearly a decade of writing, worship leader Olivia Dyer is releasing a new album. It is called Time and Age. She joined me to talk about her journey and the internal fight to grow up, but still remain a child at heart. Olivia Dyer is this week's Studio 5 One to Watch.
Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you.
If you would describe a theme for this album, what is it?
So the album is called Time and Age, and I really feel like that is much of the theme. A contrite heart you will not despise. These songs are kind of written over a period of time. Like, I think one of the songs I wrote when I was 18, just out of high school. So, you know, I'm being 26 now. It's kind of this broad span of just watching my life kind of evolve, not only as an individual, but as a songwriter. Flower in the field knows the sound of your simple tune. There's a song on the album that talks about my dad, where he had an illness and we thought we were gonna lose him. So a lot of these songs are just written from a place of like, just processing the change and how to embrace seasons of life that you didn't see coming. I think one of my favorite themes I've discovered that is in these songs is just the fact that, you know, we grow up, but is it possible to maintain childlikeness even as an adult? Growing and aging, but also maintaining those things as a child that we've had that I don't think that God would ever have us to leave or let go of. My flesh may fade, and my heart may break. I've always had a desire to record. When I wrote these songs, I had an idea and a dream to see them get recorded and to see them captured. You know, I love recording because it captures songs forever. There's another song on the album about my grandfather, and I love that I've written this song that kind of gives this biography of him that my grandchildren will hear one day.
There are 11 tracks?
Yeah.
11 tracks. You got a favorite?
That's a good question. I really love the opening track. It's called Envy, and it talks about the process of, you know, it goes back to the Psalms 23, David saying, you know, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I kind of attacked that feeling of like, oh my gosh, is my life gonna be, you know, what I thought it was, with just declaring like, no, I will not be in want. Like you're everything I need and you're everything I want, and even if all I have is you, then it's enough. Though my flesh may fade, heart may break, mind might be frail, you are my portion.
Olivia's album is available on iTunes as of January 28th. We have a few corrections and apologies to pass along this week. We mistakenly said that Donnie McClurkin in a previous story had one Dove Award. Well, he actually has 3. We also said that he wrote the song Nobody Greater when we should have said he wrote Great Is Your Mercy. Also want to let you know that we had plans to bring you this week interviews with the cast of A Dog's Purpose, but that movie junket was canceled due to concerns over animal treatment during filming. Still ahead, a new Oscar-nominated film takes a look at the deaths of 3 civil rights leaders.
There are days when you wonder, what your role is in this country and what your future is in it.
Through the final words of a literary legend.
Well, the clock is winding down on this show, but we're already hard at work to bring you an even bigger show next week. Here's a preview of just one story from the rundown.
Author James Baldwin was preaching at age 14 before ultimately walking away from the church.
In America, I was free only in battle, but never free to rest.
We need to take action. His final written words are now the subject of a new film, among the contenders for this year's Academy Award for Best Documentary.
There are days when you wonder what your role is in this country and what your future is in it.
Actor Sam Jackson narrates the film that takes a look at race in America today and the murders of Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King Jr.
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive.
We're in full swing when it comes to Hollywood award season, and Denzel Washington knows a bit about awards. He's got 2 Oscars to prove it. But we're sitting down with him this week to take a look at an inspiring word that he delivers at graduation exercises.
I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith.
One of the things that moves me besides your acting is your graduation speeches.
I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit.
What drives those that you are so honest? And I wish I had someone give a
I
speech
have
like that
great
at my
mentors.
graduation.
Bishop Blake in Los Angeles and Pastor A.R. Bernard. And I steal straight from both of them. And, you know, what's left for me is service, you know, to inspire who I can inspire.
True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you, sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already.
And that is going to be the final word. We thank you, Denzel Washington. Until next time, reach out and touch me at Ephraim Graham on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And then come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. We'll see you then.